And to another top story, the Taliban is working to block Afghans from getting to Kabul's airport as evacuations continue. The White House says about 19,000 people were flown out of Afghanistan in the past 24 hours. Meanwhile, the U.S. military is working to process thousands of Afghan citizens who are arriving at an airbase in Germany. It is the first stop for many evacuees before a new start in the U.S. Holly Williams is near the Ramstein Air Base in Western Germany. Holly, good morning.
Good morning, Anne-Marie. Well, the Afghan evacuees arrive here in Germany with just one small bag of possessions each. But inside, they carry the anxiety of an uncertain future and the heartbreak of losing their country to Islamic extremists.
Central Germany, an Afghan village has sprung up almost overnight. At this giant US military airbase, service members are doing their best to calm and entertain thousands of evacuees. Adina Ghafouri told us she worked for an American organisation in Kabul and feared the Taliban would kill her, but she had to leave her parents behind.
I don't know. Am I able to see them again or not? Am I able to talk with them or no? Am I able to go in a safe place or no? We don't know anything.
This is just a way station for the Afghan evacuees. They'll stay here a few days before flying elsewhere, very likely the US, to start a new life. There's one thing, though, they all have in common. They may never see their homeland again.
It's sad.
Lieutenant Colonel Simon Ritchie is an Air Force doctor from Minneapolis who's helping the evacuation effort.
Their entire life possessions might be in a plastic shopping bag. It certainly helps to put things in perspective and what it means to have good fortune of being born in a country like America.
Well, if the Taliban
Rahmat Safari worked as an interpreter for US Special Forces.
What would the Taliban have done to you?
They're going to kill me right away.
He told us his family owe their lives to a Green Beret who became a friend.
His name is Greg Adam. He's back in the United States. He helped us a lot.
Major Greg Adams is now a civilian. From his home in Seattle, he remotely guided Rahmat and other Afghan interpreters through the chaos at Kabul's airport using text messages.
I know how many risks they've taken for us while serving overseas, and I really want to see through our moral obligation and my personal obligation, but also our country's obligation.
Adams risked his life to fight the Taliban and is critical of America's hasty and disordered withdrawal from Afghanistan.
I don't necessarily question the decision to leave. I think we could have done a lot better job of planning for this and getting people out.
Rahmat Safari told us his ambitions now are to find work and live peacefully. He hopes in Sacramento. Greg Adams says he's still working to evacuate around 20 more Afghans before August 31st. Anne-Marie.
Well, Holly, we've all seen, the video of the chaos at the airport in Afghanistan. Clearly things are a lot calmer at the base in Germany, but we heard from the people you spoke to, there seems to be a lot of uncertainty. What's the mood like there in the atmosphere?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, I think it's a real sort of mixed bag of very raw emotions. On the one hand, from the people we spoke to, a very clear sense of relief. They believe if they'd stayed in Afghanistan, it would have been a death sentence. It's that simple, and they now know that at the very least they are safe. So that real sense of relief. On the other hand, just unthinkable loss. They have left behind homes, livelihoods, family members, loved ones, and they know they may never see their family again. I think that's almost, unimaginable for many of us. One thing that the US official said to us was that one of the biggest challenges for them has actually been just communicating with the Afghan evacuees that this place, Germany, and the airbase they're staying on is just temporary. They're not going to be living inside military tents and on cot beds for the rest of their lives. This is just for a few days, and then they'll be moving on, in many cases the US, to restart their lives, rebuild their lives.
Well, you know, President Biden has said, yes, they are working on contingency plans, but August 31st is the deadline, and he wants troops out of there. I'm wondering if you've spoken to people who are concerned that their loved ones who are still struggling to get out are not going to make it to the airport in Kabul by August 31st.
Yeah, well, so that Afghan interpreter that you just saw in our report said that he had several friends and colleagues, other interpreters, who are still struggling to get out. Now, we understand that those people have the requisite paperwork to get out, but the challenge is actually getting inside the airport, getting past the Taliban that are now surrounding the airport without getting beaten, without getting killed, and then getting in. That's a big part of what Greg Adams is doing from Seattle, guiding people into the airport. Look, I think one thing is crystal clear. There is no way in the world that every Afghan who wants to get out of Afghanistan before August 31st is going to make it.
Yeah. So you mentioned that, you know, the airbase where you were at, as well as several others, they're just sort of temporary locations so that these people can be processed, and then they're going to move on to hopefully a new life in the U.S., perhaps other places. Can you give us any insight into what they face?
Well, you know, anyone who is an immigrant themselves or had parents or grandparents who are immigrants will know it is really, really difficult to restart your life in a new country, particularly if you don't speak the language. Now, some of these Afghan evacuees speak perfect English, fluent English. They've worked with the Americans, they've worked for other overseas organizations. Some of them have higher degrees. It's going to be easier for them. They're going to bring a different skill set, different abilities, not without its challenges, but you know, they have some advantages. There are other Afghan evacuees who don't speak English, who perhaps don't have much formal education. You know, it's going to be much, much more difficult for them. One point that Greg Adams made to us I thought was very interesting. He said, when you look at the resilience and the perseverance that these Afghan evacuees must possess just to have survived in Afghanistan and then to have had the tenacity to make it out, that suggests that they're going to be successful in their new lives.
All right. They definitely have what it takes. Holly, thank you so much.